Then the next one we're going to be working on is this one here, our little Christmas tree with the candle in front. Let me get my brush out of the water there. It's never good to leave your brushes in the water like I just did. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because that's what makes them, you know, crack and all that good stuff. So let's rinse out here. And so here I'm going to use the 3 primary colors. I am going to use transparent yellow. I'm going to use Quinacrodone red. I need to refill here, but I'm trying to get as much used up, and then I'm going to treat myself to a new palette. It's about time. And then I'm going to use the Cobalt blue as my blue. I don't want my background to be too dark because the tree is going to be super dark. So this, I want that, you know, not too dark. And let's get some of the yellow out here. Put some in here, a little bit more. And I can put some over here because I'm going to use it later for when I paint the tree part. I'm going to use a little bit of yellow to create a very dark green. So there's that. Rinse it out. And then I'm going to take some of the red. And I'm going to put that here. So you can see here, I am I'm keeping my colors separate. You know, often I'll put them like in the same and I just said, let them say hello. But here I want to keep them clean. Oops. See, this is exactly why we mush. Can you see there's a big piece of pigment right there? And if I just had gone from here and then I start painting, yeah, that's when we have big boo-boos happen. So I'm going to see if I can get that one dissolved, at least part of it. And I'm going to put it back in the puddle. There. Nope, there it is. There. All right, I think that's enough red. Take a little bit more. I'm going to use more red than yellow and blue. And see what happened here? My water was green from the yellow and the blue. And now I rinsed out the red and voila. It's kind of a, you know, orangey brown, right? It's kind of a watered down burnt sienna because that's exactly what red, blue, and green will give you. And then we're going to get some cobalt blue. So let's put that over here. And make sure I have enough of that. And you see now it goes more gray brown, cooler brown. Could you see that? Mm-hmm. Dirty water has a story to tell, always does. You learn something from observing. All right. Then put my palette back where it belongs. And then we're going to wet. I'm going to try and keep the candle dry. The candle and a candlestick holder. I didn't bother masking it out because it's going to have some color on. So I just masked out what needed to be really light. And it's a very simple shape, so I don't find that it's going to be very hard to just paint around it. And just like that. And like that, and like that. And I'm going to take a little time to make sure, because here I really do need it to stay damp for a little while, and you'll see why. Now if we end up getting some paint running into our candle and our candlestick holder, we're not going to panic, okay? But we try to avoid it. We'll see how we do. There, I think it's nice and wet. Do I have any dry spots? Doesn't look like it. Okay, so I might go to a slightly smaller brush. Yeah.
Tilt it up down there on that right hand side by the candlestick.
Is there a dry spot?
The other side.
Okay.
Right up against the candle.
Okay, yeah. So I always keep a little tiny bit of distance, just so it doesn't seep in.
No,
but
there was
a,
yeah.
yeah, I just
got
couldn't
it
see it.
now.
I got it?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right, so I'm not gonna go with a tiny brush, but I'm not gonna go with a humongous brush. So I'm gonna go with my round here. It's number 14, so it's a pretty decent size. And I start with the yellow, and I'm gonna put some yellow around here, because that's where the glow from the candle is gonna come, right? Coming here. And then I'm gonna rinse out that brush, and then I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna get some red on. And now I'm gonna go in and get the red around the yellow. So I'm kind of creating a border. And then the last color, surprise, surprise, is gonna be our cobalt blue. So that goes on the outer edges. And some down here. And I can do like this. And you know, all this that are underneath the tree, most of it's going to disappear. Okay, so that was step 1. I think I'm good. And now comes the important part. So you can see it's very wet. It is moving, but I'm gonna spray from the middle and out because I wanna retain this light, but I don't wanna have it look like a bullseye. So I'm gonna spray and move my hand, spray about 3 times from the middle and out. And then I hold it like this and let it run off. And can you see how now I have some yellow, blue, and red mixing together here? So I want to get rid of that. I don't want it to run back in. Can you see that? Okay, so then let's spray from here. And then let it run out. And I'm going to turn it over. And see, I have a little bit running into the canvas. It doesn't matter. It's going to be very light because it's so diluted. And I'm going to have that run off. And my main concern is that I keep that light right around here. And there we have it. And you can see those little, that little masking can grab some of that. So you got to have Kleenex at the ready to kind of pick up. That way you don't get that dirty water running back in again and mudding up your colors. And I'm less concerned about this area because, you know, most of that is not going to be visible because the tree's going to be there. I'm really concerned about here, right around the candle. That's what's important to me. Let's see if we can spray a little bit down here. And keep an eye on it. I have a little tiny bit of a white spot here. I don't really want that because, you know, it draws the eye. And since it's so wet, I can easily go in and take care of that. And again, here, I kind of like that color I got on the candle. I might have painted the candle. I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm gonna take advantage of that. And I'm just gonna bring it down to here. Because that candle is in front of that very dark tree.
Interesting.
I mean, if the watercolors insist on helping me that much, I'm not gonna turn it down.
Happy accident.
Happy accident, exactly. And so I'm gonna grab, so if you don't have Kleenex, you can grab a couple of pieces from me, because that's important. You gotta be prepared. And then you might wanna go in and pick up, you know, those little droplets that are, you know, have gathered on the masking fluid. And then I can see here, I might as well go in, and while it's still damp, I'm barely touching, and it's not a wet brush, it's just a barely damp brush. And I am going in here and just cleaning up these edges. And it ran into the candlestick holder here a little bit in the top, and I don't think it's going to be a problem. I don't want to mess around with it too much. I got a little bit of neutral here, but I don't mind. I got the glow I wanted.
Yeah.
And that's it. So fast and furious.
Is that 300-pound paper?
Yes, I'm painting on 300-pound paper. So if you're painting on 140, you know it will be more floppy. It'll buckle a little bit more for you. Spray it with some water on the back, and then you know it'll lay flat. And plus, it'll help you stay damp longer, which you need it wet. You can see you need it wet for this to happen. All right, so dried. I like the way it dried. I think that's, and you know, it's not very much of it we're going to be seeing really, but I think it dried nice. And now we're going to make a really super duper dark for our evergreen tree. So we have several options. We can either go with Antwerp, or we can go with the Indigo for our dark tree. I want the tree really dark because it is going to look really dark. Because it's, you know, it's kind of backlit, and then, you know, there's that candle in the front. So and it's not going to look super green. That's the other thing. At least I don't think that it is. I don't feel that.
Which is better, Indigo or Antwerp?
Both are fine. Indigo goes even darker. It might be a little dark. And if you don't have Antwerp, you can use Prussian blue if you have that one. And of course, you could also use French ultramarine blue. I just think that either the Indigo or the Antwerp, and you can also use a little bit of both. So here's Indigo, and my Indigo is from Winsor Newton, so it's very blue. Most of the other brands are a little bit more like Payne's Gray, so they're not quite as brilliant blue. But it doesn't matter. We're going to put a little bit of yellow in. And I'm going to rinse that out. Indigo is very, very strong. Did you see what happened? I mean, I didn't even swoosh my brush around, and it can run away from you. Meaning that it can take over very easily because it is just so pigmented and so dark, and it moves. It wants to take over. And so here is my Antwerp. So you can kind of see it's kind of sort of a little bit in the same ballpark, but it's not as dark. It's not as black looking. Can you see that?
Yeah, it's pretty.
It's very pretty. So we can use both of them. Nobody says we have to just use one. Cobalt will not work because it won't go dark. You know, Cobalt is not for rich darks. Cobalt is great for, you know, softer colors, but, you know, softer mid-tones. That's as far as it can go. So rinse that out. And I happen to have my little puddle. And both Indigo and Antwerp are staining colors. So get a little bit of water in here, and I have some yellow out here. And I have a little bit of red if something goes like too green, then we can always throw red in because that's a complementary color. And actually the brush I like to use for this particular step is actually my dagger brush, because that is just so good for those evergreen shapes. So I'm going to use that. And the way I like to do it is I actually like to go in with, make sure I don't have those droplets. I like to go in with a little bit of water and just kind of, it's almost like I'm practicing those, you know, so I'm doing some strokes that are kind of like those twigs, boughs, is that what are they called? Boughs. And then of course we want to remember, let's not paint our candlestick holder, especially with this dark color. That's not going to be easy to take that off. So I'm just practicing a little bit here, and I might put a little bit of water just around the candle and the candlestick holder, just so that the color will flow there by itself and I don't have to get too close, because you know Pigment goes wherever you have.
Could you move your water, please?
Yes. So I'm going to try and hold it up. Can you kind of sort of see how I've dabbled in a little bit of water? Can you see the shiny spots?
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, when it lies like this, I can't see where they are, but I don't have to. So now let's start with some of the Antwerp. So I'm just dipping my brush, not the whole brush, kind of like this much, into the Antwerp. And I'm going to go by and say a little hello to the yellow. And that's going to make it very green, but I can tone it down. And now I'm just going to go in, and now I dab it into a little bit of the indigo. And I'm just starting from the edges is what's important, right? Oh, that's what I'm after. And I need more water in my brush. And so I do want to have some color variance. Put a little bit of yellow in. The Antwerp is going to give a richer, not so bright green. And the, I need more water. I'm going to just spray in a little bit of water on that big area. And again, I'm just looking at the edges is what I'm interested in right now, just so that it looks like an evergreen. And it's nice if we have a little bit of some sky holes, some, you know, where you can see a little bit of the background in, so that the tree doesn't look like too solid. And I might have to turn it around too. I'm just going to get some color in here where it's going to be really dark. And then I can go back and work on my shapes a little bit more. But can you see this? I'm really happy we chose to go with two colors, because see how it really makes it much more interesting. And it looks more real, I feel. Need some more water on it. And over the flame for sure, right? I go over the flame. And it's nice, can you see I'm kind of swooping and lifting the brush a little bit. If I get a little bit of kind of like dry brushing like that, I really like that. And then some nice dark down here and here. That's where I have to be careful, around the candlestick holder. And a little bit of green in. I need a little bit more, this one. And, ooh, rich and dark. And a little bit down here. And around the flame, we want it nice and dark. And a little bit more green here. I want a little bit of more yellow right around here, because then it, you know, it's that shine from the flame. And then a little bit more dark here. And down here I want it a little bit more solid, because that's kind of towards the middle of the tree, and there won't be much peeking through there. And then I'm going to turn it on the side. So now I want to be a little careful right around here so I don't mess up my candle. A little bit more this one, and go down there. Of course, we want to make sure that that candle stands out nicely. And I'm just looking at what it looks like on the outer edge. That's really the most important part. And then a little bit down there, a little swoop there. And let's see, I'm going to take a little bit more of the Antwerp. Just get a little, but I think I'm pretty much there. And see, that's what I mean. It's kind of nice if we have a couple of these little spots, not out here, but, and not down there. But otherwise, and I do like that we have a little bit of that green going on. Put in a little bit more, and let's take a look. Does anything look super weird? I don't think so. Looks pretty good. There we go. And I think we're going to call that a day. Just a little fix down here. Down there, there, and here. There we go. And now we got the evergreen tree behind.
That's much prettier
And
than
see,
this one.
yeah.
That's pretty.
There's a little bit more life to this one, right? The other one that I did, and I did that years ago, is more kind of a dark shape. Just dark. I mean, this is also dark, but there's a variety in my darks, more. And you get a little bit of those, you get an idea, because we mix the colors a little bit. So it kind of gives an idea of more volume, I feel, like more of different branches overlapping. All right, so I took the masking off. I used my rubber cement eraser, you know, it's best when you do it, just do it in one direction. Don't go like scrubbing all over. And then let's just do the easy ones first. Let's not that there's any difficult ones here. Let's, I was lucky because I almost got my candle painted already. So here's the one I did many years ago. And I am going to put a little bit of color on my candle, but I was lucky because it kind of got painted already. So first, let's just go in and paint this ring around the candlestick holder. Put a little bit of water in. And I'm going to take some of my Quinacrodone red, and I'm going to darken it a little bit. So I just hopped in here where I had that kind of grayish mix, where there was a little bit of Quinacrodone red, and then it was French ultramarine blue, and then I put a little bit of the burnt sienna in, and see how that works like a charm. It's kind of toned down red.
Are you painting on dry?
No, I put already a little bit of water in the middle here. So I'm just going around the candle here, like that. And then I'm gonna rinse out my brush. Oops, now I messed up my clean water. We'll have to live with that. And now, before it dries on me, I go in and I loosen that edge. And a little bit more. And then I think I'll go in with a little bit of the Quinacrodone red. Like this. My candlestick holder is going to be red. But you know, we need that little bit of that shadow color here. And now I can dab in again a little bit where everything's wet. Can you see how it's just, then it spreads and it looks like it's going in / down? And I can also put a little bit on here, underneath here a little bit, there. All right, so can you see how now it has shape now? Because I put that on. And I might even go in and do a little bit darker.
Bless you.
Bless you. So now I took a little bit of the Antwerp on into the red, just to darken it.
Oh, okay.
Can you see that? To make it a little bit more dramatic. All right. So now I've got to give that a rest. But I can use some of that color up here. I'm going to get a little bit up here. Let's rinse it out. So I'm beginning to kind of paint in the Wick area. That was that same. No, I had it on dry.
Oh, okay.
Had it on dry. So just want to get a little bit of a darker color in here. That's the inside of the candle. It's always a little bit dirty, kind of, from the sod. You're speaking to a Dane, you know, so we're candle experts, you know, because we burn candles all over the place. That's there. Can you see how it's beginning to give you a little bit of that feel? And I want to now create a dark. Probably I'll go with a little bit of my Indigo. Yes, Indigo. And I can put a little bit of the burnt sienna in. Now I have an Indigo and burnt sienna from Winsor Newton, so you can see it goes very dark green. So if you have those colors, or at least the Indigo from a different brand, it will go black on you because it doesn't go green. But what's the opposite to green? Well, that's red. So if I put a little bit of red in, I take that green away. See that?
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's so important to know your complementary color pairs. They neutralize each other. So there I've got a really nice black color, and I don't know why I'm painting with such a big brush here for this little area, but I am. So I get a little bit of that in for the wick, and then I want to take just a little damp brush, and I just want down here, I just want to smudge it a little bit, like that. Right, that way it comes out and it doesn't look like I stuck it on. All right, that was fun. So let's just give that a rest for just a second, and then let's go in and paint our candlestick holder. I think I want to make it a little on the orangey side. Red, orangey, we'll see. And I can just go in on dry paper here, and I had a little boo-boo, but it's okay. So putting that in. Want to put a little bit of that red in here too, just so that they kind of go together. And just loose the edge there. And then I got to be careful up here. And get a little bit of the yellow into it. A little bit more red. I just think that looks nice. And it's my candlestick holder, so I can do whatever I like. There we go. You know, it's not, you don't have to do a whole lot. I have a little bit of, you know, see there, I need to fix the edges, but I can't do it right now. What I can do is, if I could beg somebody to get me some clean water, I would. Thanks. I'm just gonna get a little bit of the transparent yellow out in an area here. Here's that. Of course, now I'm gonna paint the wick, and I'm gonna wait.
Would you mind moving the water just a little bit?
Yes, of course. Here. Thank you so much. All right, so I got a little bit of the transparent yellow out in my mixing area here. And I'm keeping an eye on my candlestick holder. It's beginning to dry a little bit, so let's see. I just want to darken it a little bit. I'll probably go in and take a little bit of maybe even a burnt sienna, or whatever you can get your hands on, so to speak. That's a little bit of a darker red, so get some more of the Quinacrodone red. Here, there. Boop, boop. And I'm just gonna go in and just get a little bit more color on, especially underneath here. Clean it out. Just so it gets a little, you know. And then you can see I have these two areas. I need to clean them up, but I can't do that now. So the flame. So first I'm going to put a little bit of yellow inside here, and I'm leaving a little bit of the white. Go down here, but I'm leaving a little bit of the white, not underneath but on the sides, and then I'm going to dip in and get a little bit of red and mix it in so I get like an orange. Just a little bit, you know, to make it look like a flame, right? And can you see how I let it run? That's the best way, in my opinion. A little bit more down here. And need to get a little bit of more color on the candle, maybe on this side. And I like to get, I have a little, can you see I left like a little bit of a light white ring around my candle, because, you know, the wax is kind of building up there and the candle is, you know, casting a little bit of a reflection or, you know, light on it. So there's that. I think I want to darken it a little bit inside, a little bit more inside. It's been lit many times, so it's a little bit more dirty. There's that. And a little bit of this color here, the candle color. And clean it out, just. And now I should probably leave that alone. But can you see, we got a nice little flame here. I think we could go up and do just a hint more of the dark while it's still damp, so we can kind of run into there a little bit. So I have just a little tiny bit on my tip of my brush, and I'm just kind of pulling it up like that, just so you get a little feeling of that wick that's like kind of obscured a little bit by the flame. There, enough. Actually want to check this out a little bit. There, and loosen this edge a little bit. And now I think should probably really leave it alone. Just want to dab in a little bit more red. All right, that's my flame. And then these little Christmas decorations, they are super fun. That's where you can go really, really, you know, bright colors. So I might go in and get a little bit of yellow, and let's get a little bit of, clean up my red here. There. So now I want clean color, so let's make a kind of a orangey color. And eeny, meeny, miny, mo. So I'm just gonna go in and paint the part of the ornament that's away from the flame. So kind of like a half moon, quarter moon, whatever, shape like this. Then I'm gonna rinse out my brush. And then before it dries on me, I'm gonna go in and just kind of drag that color out.
Did you start wet or dry on the ornament?
I did dry.
Dry it, okay.
And a little bit more. I don't want hard edges. And just drag a little bit of that color in. Can you see how, you know, and I'm thinking about where, you know, the highlight would be, and it would be on this side. So there. There's one bulb. Let's do another one. Let's do a blue one. So I'm gonna go with my brightest blue, which happens to be this Peacock blue. And let's do, how about this one next to the candle? Would be nice to have that a blue color since the candle is red. So I'm going again, just on dry, and I start away from the flame. So now down here, that's where there wouldn't be any reflection. And then I'm gonna rinse out, dab, dab, dab on my, and then I'll go in from the dry side and just stick my damp tip of my brush in here and dragging up the color. And then, you know, I have to rinse it again because then pretty soon I have pigment on my brush. And I want to have that highlight on the top because, you know, that's gonna catch a little bit of light. And you just do them all like that. There's nothing to it. I feel like maybe I should do a little bit more orangey in here. Yeah. Less is more. That's pretty darn okay. It's pretty darn okay. The only other thing I might do is I might just go in and just darken a little bit more, like right underneath here. Just to push, can you see that pushes that edge, you know, that lip on the candlestick holder out, and then make sure that you lose the edge there. Right? And there it is.
Beautiful.
It's not that hard.
How many years have you been painting?